Hello Anglophonians, and welcome to this very special 200 subscribers episode. And for this very special occasion I had to switch the room because I need a monitor for this very special episode. Well, normally we would take a look at the history of the Europa Park or at the European comic culture, but in this case, well, I thought for a 200 subscriber special I need to do something that, well, hops on a trend that is going on, so that more subscribers will come and we can have these very special episodes more often. Yes, and so what trend is going on right now? Well, it's this reaction videos. Yes, and so I need a monitor for that I have something to react about, against, well, whatever, a reaction video. Well, yes, it's a trend and I'm going with it. So, there. Now, let's take a look. Yeah, I know, this all looks a bit improvised, but here we are. Okay, let's take a look. What have we here? Okay, oh, that's it. Viva la Dirt League. Epic NPC, man. Yeah, that's it. They tell stories about a mystical realm called Azerim, I think, and it's very funny. Well, what do we have here? What the NPCs do when all the adventurers disappear. That looks like a funny adventure, and let's react and start.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, the blacksmith, of course. His name. Oh, and oh yeah, of course. And the salesman. They are all here. This is a classic start. Okay. Yeah, thank you, adventurer. And the sheep. It's always about the sheep. Whoa, what is that? Yeah, tell about the sheep.
I have no idea how those pesky rascals keep
yeah.
escaping, but I promise I'll
those. Well,
adventurer, are you okay?
What is going? Huh?
Wow.
She's gone? And oh, they are all gone. What?
Oh, this is a sword that should do maximum
And
damage.
even at the blacksmith. What's going on?
What the f***?
Okay, now.
What'd you do?
Is this Greg's fault?
What did I do?
What's happened?
Oh, yeah.
Clearly you've done something.
Has he done something? I
adventurers have
haven't seen him
disappeared.
doing something.
I didn't do
Yeah,
anything.
he didn't do.
everybody gone? Look at Eugene.
Oh, Eugene,
He's
yeah.
terrified.
Oh, he's terrified. Yes.
It's not my fault.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
who's
Did he
going to
do
pay for
something?
the sword that just finished? You?
Why would I pay for it? I
paying
didn't do
for it.
anything.
This is ridiculous. Paying for
Eugene,
this
would you
sword.
please be quiet?
Don't yell at me, Greg.
Okay,
Don't
it's
yell
not
at
helping
Eugene.
yelling at
It's
Eugene.
not his fault.
Yeah, and
I
it's not
wasn't
his
yelling, I was
fault.
just-
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, look, this is clearly quite a big deal, and I don't think him crying over and over is going to solve it.
Okay, he has a point here. Yes, absolutely.
What are you going to do to fix this, Greg?
Yeah, what's Greg going to do?
I don't know.
Yeah. But wait, what is that?
The first official Epic NPC Man comic is available now. It is called Hero Outage, and we couldn't be more excited.
It is an epic.
Wait, what was that? This is okay. This is strange, but the comic has appeared here. Well, things that suddenly appear, isn't that another franchise? I don't know, but this is even better. Man, it's nice to do a reaction and all that stuff, and I know that this is very well common these days on YouTube, and all these channels are having a lot of viewers, but, well, why not take a look at another comic culture? So let's take a look at Hero Outage, the Epic NPC comic. Epic NPC comic? The Epic NPC Man comic. I messed it up, didn't I? Yeah, but no, I can't do this take one more time because I don't have the time. You know, time is precious. You know that? Time is precious. So, let's take a look at Hero Outage, the Epic NPC Man comic. So, Viva la Dirt League, or short VLDL, and yes, this is their logo right on screen, is a group of professional web video producers from New Zealand, founded in 2011 by Rowan Benjamin and Alan Morrison, and I hope I pronunciated this right. They were joined by Adam King in 2015. All three of them had experience in filmmaking and love video games. They started doing several videos parodying video games, mostly from the perspective of the game itself, be it through the eyes of an NPC or a player. Over time, their project grew. It grew and grew. Grew up to be, yes, it grew up to be, well, it's still Viva la Dirt League, but bigger, you know. And other cast members followed. Like the actor Ben Van Leer, the actress Britt Scott Clark, or the stand-up comedian Hamish Parkinson. Under the VLDL label, videos are produced, most of which parody video games, such as programming errors or the impossible physics of video games. Another series examine everyday life in a computer shop. But we want to look at the series about the epic NPC man, around which a real lore has now developed. The stories parody multiplayer adventure games, and the episodes take place within a game called Skycraft. The plot of Skycraft takes place in a world called Azerim, mainly in the small town of Honeywood. The eponymous epic NPC man is a character like those found in video games, who offers the player various tasks or quests to solve. As the stories progress, he is given the name Greg and a backstory. Other residents of Honeywood are the blacksmith Bodger, the fisherman Balin, and Eugene, who is very worried about his family and usually afraid. Other recurring characters are the muggers, the grave diggers, or the high sorcerer Barad-dûn. The attentive observer will have noticed a challenge here that the adaptation of these stories into a comic presents. There's a regular cast of actors who portray several characters. And if I rearrange the whole thing again, just a moment. Now, here we have a city guard who also plays a role from time to time, and I don't even want to start with the many roles that Hamish plays. Since part of the story in a comic takes place in the reader's head, these characters had to be easy to distinguish. That was a challenge for the comic artist. But it was also a challenge for the author. As already mentioned, the stories from Azerim are parodies of video games. Video games are an audio-visual medium, so parodies work very well here in video format. For example, every video gamer knows NPCs, non-player characters, who are in the background and are mainly supposed to create the right atmosphere in the game, or, for example, to ensure that a city doesn't look so empty. They are usually very simply programmed and can be recognized by the fact that they only repeat one or a few phrases over and over again.
For king and country. For the alliance. For the peace of the kingdom. What's that then?
Nice day for fishing, ain't it? Morning. 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 Nice day for fishing, ain't it? Morning. Nice day for fishing, ain't it? Morning. Nice day for fishing, ain't it? Morning. Nice day for fishing, ain't it?
Yeah, great, okay. But look, I'm just gonna say
But
this out loud.
who would accept the quest to put the stories of Azerim on paper in colorful pictures? The author of Hero Outage is Fred Van Lente, who has written comics, plays and novels and has received awards for them. His writing ranges from mystery to historical fiction to superheroes and comedy.
The artist responsible for drawing the comic is Bailey Rosenlund, a graduate of Sheridan's illustration program and an award-winning illustrator, currently living in Vancouver, Canada. And now the time has come. We're taking a look at the work itself. We are looking into Epic NPC Man Hero Outage. The story begins right behind the title page. On a double page we see a map of Azurim, as well as a pop-up window that tells us that the Skycraft game server is unavailable and players cannot log in. On the next pages we see what effect this has on the residents of Azurim, especially the village of Honeywood. Greg, the garlic seller, is desperately waiting for heroes to come along so he can give them a quest, be it to find his sheep or rid his house of vermin. Meanwhile, he watches dragons, trolls and other monsters run amok in Honeywood. When Eugene is caught by giant spiders, Greg has had enough. He calls a town meeting. The residents of Honeywood don't understand what Greg is getting at first. But the grave diggers of all people know what's going on. The server that Skycraft is running on has crashed. That's why players can no longer log in, and that's why there are no heroes left in Azurim. But without heroes to keep the monsters in check, they'll overrun the whole country. The residents of Honeywood don't understand a word. Greg suggests that, given the special situation, they should perhaps ask the High Sorcerer Barad-dûn for help. But since the streets of Azurim are very unsafe, since countless monsters are roaming around there, the residents of Honeywood decide that Greg should take on the task himself. He is accompanied by the fisherman Balin and the blacksmith Bodger. Their mission has not even really begun when they are attacked by the muggers and robbed of most of their equipment. In the abandoned mines of Murgol, they meet Lady Serana, who helps them out of a dangerous situation. It turns out that she is also on her way to Barad-dûn. This means that the group has grown to 4 people. After a few unpleasant encounters, they finally arrive at the Temple of Calabor, where Barad-dûn lives. Here it turns out that Lady Serana is looking for the Circlet of Beast Mastery, which once belonged to her family. This circlet could be the solution to the problems with the monsters. And so, Greg, Balin, Bodger, Lady Serana and now Barad-dûn set out to find Lootopia, the Utopia of Loot, so that they can use the Circlet of Beast Mastery to control the monsters that are overrunning Azurim. I know what you're going to say. So that's the story. A group of adventurers set out to find a magical artifact to fix things that go wrong. Well, how should I say it?
Wrong, 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 wrong. Wrong, 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 wrong. You're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong.
Thank you, Dr. Cox. Because the magical artifact is only half the story. There's more to come, but I won't give it away here. If you're interested, I strongly recommend you to buy the comic yourself. Yes, okay, I'll explain it in a little more detail. First of all, the Epic NPC Man videos are of course most fun for those who know the computer games and their typical quirks. You also have to know at least a little about the game mechanisms. For example, what experience points are, how to equip a player character with equipment, or why the characters always talk so awkwardly about 5 gold or 10 gold. If you are not that experienced with these games, you will still have a lot of fun, but you won't understand all the references. Since the Epic NPC Man series has been going on for a long time and has built up its own lore, there are also a number of self-references in the videos that you can only understand if you know the series. It's similar with the comic. The story is certainly easy to read even if you have no experience with computer games, but you may miss a lot. Anyone who knows computer games or plays them themselves will have a lot more fun with the comic, especially since some of the references go beyond the game genre. For example, when the adventurers face a password dragon. Fans of VLDL will undoubtedly have the most fun, and this comic is primarily aimed at them. Especially since you already have the characters' voices in your head, thanks to the videos. The story follows a coherent plot, although there are also references to individual episodes of the epic NPC man. However, this never leads to the story seeming episodic. The story of the Circlet of Beastmastery and what develops from it is imaginative and does not need to hide behind other fantasy stories. This is also what many parodies fail to understand and which degenerates them into a mere review. A story like this needs its own plot, which follows its own logic. Attention, I said its own logic, not that the plot has to be logical according to general standards. Hero Outage meets this fully. It was a good idea to bring in a professional author to write the story for the comic. Nothing against the people at Viva la Dirt League, but every genre needs its own writing style. Some of the viewer may remember that a few episodes ago I had a comic artist who complained that the author wrote things in the story that were impossible to draw. For example, in one scene, the author asked the character to arrive by car, get out of the car and walk up a flight of stairs, all in one panel. And that is not possible. Fred van Lente is an experienced writer, and you can see this. And you can tell that he has studied the source material. As for the drawings, Bailey Rosenlund has her own style that fits the fantasy world of Azerim wonderfully. She solved the problem I mentioned earlier, that different characters are played by the same actors by adapting the appearance of the character so that they are more individual. Bodger, for example, is a bit bulkier, as you would expect from a blacksmith. Balin, as a fisherman, is a bit slimmer. All in all, a high-quality comic has been produced here. But unfortunately, there's also a downside. Let's talk about the price. This first edition costs $20 US. If you live in Europe, this price almost doubles due to shipping and customs fees. Of course, you have to consider whether this story is worth it to you. I can't really make a recommendation for you. As I said, everything is of high quality, the story, the drawings, the paper, the printing, so I have to leave it up to everyone to decide for themselves. All I can say is, it was worth it to me. By the way, on the comic itself, it says in very small letters that this is issue number 1. And at the end of the comic, there's actually a tease of a sequel. But I guess whether that happens depends on how well this comic sells. But after this issue number 1, however, I have to say that I would also be excited about possible sequels. All I can say for now is, nice day for comic reading, ain't it?
So there you have it, and what a ride it was. Huh? A special comic for a special occasion. I think it fits. So until next time, take good care of yourself. Like and subscribe. And see you.